everybody, Ian from RTO here. Welcome to Friday on RTO. Fridays, as you know, is live album ranking, and we've got a corker for you today. It's the mighty Judas Priest. What can we say about Priest as an intro? When you think heavy metal, one of the first bands you think of, Judas Priest. Made some great studio albums, and they've made some really good live albums, of course. They've released 7 official live albums, so let's have a look at them. Okay, coming in at number 7 is released in 2010. It's called Setlist, the very best of Judas Priest live. Now, I don't own this album because basically it's just songs from all the other live albums, and I think it was a pointless buy for me. I could actually make this up myself if I wanted to, but there's no point. But I'll tell you what the tracks are on it, because it's quite a good, impressive set of tracks. It's got Judas Rising on it, Riding on the Wind, Heading Out on the Highway, Breaking the Law, Exciter, Tyrant, Dissident Aggressor, The Green Manalishi with a 2-pronged crown, Beyond the Realms of Death, Free Will Burning, You've Got Another Thing Coming. It's a bit disjointed, of course, and the sound and the production is all over the place. But I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10, purely on that set list. The tracks that were chosen for this are very good, but I'd suppose it'd be all over the place. I've not even listened to it, so we'll move on briskly, I think. So coming in at number 6 is Live in London, recorded in 2003 at the Brixton Academy. In 2001, on the Demolition Tour. It features, of course, Tim Ripper Owens, KK Downing, Glenn Tipton, Ian Hill and Scott Travis. The vocal performance from Ripper on this is not very good. I don't know if his voice is tired or he's screaming, or I don't know. The band sound absolutely fantastic as ever, but Ripper's vocals on this are terrible. Tracks you got on here are Metal Gods, Heading Out onto the Highway, Grinder, Touch of Evil, Bloodstained, yeah, Victims of Changes, The Sentinel, One on One, Running Wild, The Ripper, Diamonds and Rust, Feed on Me, The Green Manalishi, Beyond the Realms of Death, Burning Hell, Hell is Home, Breaking the Law, Desert Plains, You've Got Another Thing Coming, Turbo Lover, Painkiller, The Healing, Electric Eye, United, Living After Midnight and Hell Bent for Leather. It's a good set, and the band are on fire, but Ripper isn't. But I'll give it an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10, purely on the performance of the guys that are actually making the music. Okay, then coming in at number 5 is 98 Live Meltdown, released in 1998, and it was recorded during the Jugulator tour. Again, it features Tim Ripper Owens, KK Downing, Glenn Tipton, Ian Hill and Scott Travis. Now, this live album with Ripper on it is a lot better, and his singing is much better. Out of the 2 live albums that Priest did with Ripper, this is the better one. I think it's got a better, the set is a little bit better, I think, and he gives a really good performance in this one. I think he was trying to, it was a big shoes to fill, isn't it, Rob Halford? And I thought he did a great job on this live album, but I don't know what happened for the second one. I really don't know. track listing on there is good, of course. It's got the Helion, Electric Eye, Metal Gods, Grinder, Rapid Fire, Bloodstained, The Sentinel, Touch of Evil, Burning Hell, The Ripper, Bullet Train. That's quite a good track, actually. Beyond the Realms of Death, Death Row, Metal Meltdown, Nightcrawler, Abductors, Victim of Changes, Diamond and Rust, Breaking the Law, The Green Manalishi, Painkiller, you got another thing cover, Come In, and Hellbent for Leather, Living After Midnight. Now, as I said, it's a better album. It sounds really good. Out of the two, if I'm going to play a Ripper live album, I'll play this one, and I give it an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. Right, that's got the Ripper albums out of the way. Let's go back to what I call proper Priest, with the only singer in my books, the metal god himself, Mr. Robert Halford. So coming in at number 4 is A Touch of Evil, released in 2009. This is the first live album with Rob back, and it'll be the final one with KK on it. It's an album that's recorded over a few years, and it's taken from the 2005 tour, the 2008 and 2009. Absolutely great set, great singing. So you've got the sort of the classic lineup. Well, it's not the classic lineup, but that steady lineup of Rob Halford, Glenn Tipton, KK Downing, Iain Hill, and Scott Travis. Absolutely belting album. Opens up with Judas Rising. I love this track. I like the next one, Hell Rider, even better. Then it's got the brilliant Between the Hammer and the Anvil, another brilliant track. Riding on the Wind, Death, Beyond the Realms of Death. What I like about this, it's got practically none of the usual suspects. So you've got some of the more not obscure tracks, but some great tracks, and it's nice to have just a different set, you know, an album. And I love this album. Where do we get to? Distant Aggressor, Touch of Evil, Eat Me Alive, Prophecy. It's one of the best tracks off Nostradamus, and this version is absolutely brilliant, absolutely stunning. It's a great track studio, but the live version's even better. Then we get the magnificent Painkiller. Now, I saw Priest on the Painkiller tour at Aston Villa Leisure Centre, of all places. One of the best indoor gigs I've ever been to. My ears rang for days, and considering that I'd been in hospital, I had a back ear operation, and this was about, I had problems with my back. So now this was before my operation. I was in a huge plaster cast. So the boys took me out, and what a night we had. Worth Fighting For, and they Deal with the Devil, one of my favourite tracks by Judas Priest. Although this album is recorded over a number of years, the production is good, the editing is good, and it feels like this is just one set. It is really, really good, and I'll give it an RTO ranking of 7.5. Coming in at number 3 then, from 2016, Battlecry. This was recorded at Wacken in 2015 during the Redeemer of the Souls tour. The quality and production of this is fantastic. I think I've said this before, I've got quite a number of albums that have been recorded at Wacken, and the production on every album I've got recorded at Wacken is fantastic. It is absolutely amazing. I don't know what they do there, but it's really good. So you've got Rob Halford, Glenn Tipton, KK Downing, Iain Hill, of course, and Scott Travis. Opens up with the intro to Battlecry, which is a fantastic track. And we get Dragonaut. Oh, love that. Metal Gods. Rob's all over that one. Absolutely belts it out. Devil's Child. Another fantastic track. Victims of Changes. What a version of that this is. Fantastic. Glenn Tipton, on fire. It's a shame that he's got MS. He's a great guitarist. Halls of Vandala. Oh, he can't. He just get this, every track on here is fantastic. Redeemer of Souls. Oh, I love that track. Beyond the Realms of Death. Now this is one of my favourites. I haven't heard this on a live album. Jawbreaker. Yeah. I didn't realise it. I thought I'd got reason what it's about, but I've got Rob Halford's autobiography, and my suspicions were right what he was singing about. If you haven't got it, the book, I recommend it. Then we get Breaking the Law. It's probably one of the best versions of that I've ever heard live. Like Hell Bent for Leather, that sounds great on here as well. The crowd are going mental. Then we get the intro to the Helion that goes straight into Electric Eye. Great stuff. You've got another thing coming, and then Painkiller again. Cracking album. You play this loud, you don't play it quiet. Rob's on fire. His vocals are still as amazing as the day he joined the band. Iain Hill still grinding them bass lines out. Fantastic album. And I'll give this an RTO ranking of 8 out of 10. Okay, this may shock people, but there is a good reason. Coming in at number 2, it was their first live album, released in September 1979, Unleashed in the East. If it was only for one thing, this would be my number 1. But the reason it's not number 1, musically, the band are on fire. They were absolutely. This is when they were them heavy early days. The production on the actual songs is brilliant, but apparently the vocals, and Rob said this in his book, he went and re-recorded them because he wasn't happy with them. As much as I love Judas Priest, you do not do that. If the vocals were bad, I would have accepted that, and it would have been my number 1. Because the atmosphere and everything is electric about this. I mean, it got called Unleashed in the Studio. Okay, they tried to make it sound live, but I was a little bit disappointed. But don't get me wrong, it doesn't take away what a brilliant album this is. So this featured Rob Halford, KK Downing, Glenn Tipton, Iain Hill, and Les Binks. And that's another reason it's up high, because it's got Les on it. What a set though. Opens up with Exciter. Oh, absolutely belting track. Of course, Off Stained Glass. Fantastic track. Love that track. Running Wild from Killing Machine. Oh, it doesn't get any better, does it? It's fantastic. Great. Glenn Tipton on this is absolutely amazing. Sinner. Sin After Sin. Super track. The Ripper. I actually think this is, although they've re-recorded the lyric, the vocal on this, this is the best version of the Ripper, because obviously you get the band doing it, and they're awesome. Green Manalishi with a 2-prong crown, again fantastic. And the version of Diamonds and Rust on this is probably the best live version. even though Rob went and re-recorded. Victim of Changes, musically brilliant again. Genocide, brilliant. Tyrant, these are just classic songs from the band. Rock Forever, great guitar work from both KK and Glenn. Delivering the Goods, superb song. Hell Bent for Leather. Okay, forget that Rob re-recorded his vocals for this. This is the best version ever of Hell Bent for Leather. That little keyboard bit, that guitar solo in the middle with the finger picking from Glenn Tipton, and then KK comes in. This is absolutely a fantastic version. And then we end up with Starbreaker. Right. It's still a fantastic album. You just have to forget that it was re-recorded, the vocals. I do love this album, even though I was disappointed. But I love it. I love this album to death, and I'll give it an RTO ranking of 8.5. Okay, coming in at number 1, Priest Live. Everything about this is good. Production. Rob, I think, was at his best singing. This has got the lineup of Rob Halford, KK Downing, Glenn Tipton, Ian Hill, and Northampton's very own Dave Holland. Oh, brilliant set this is. It opens up with that one of my favourite tracks by the band, Out in the Cold. I love that track. It's one of my favourite tracks. Heading Out on the Highway, classic track. Metal Gods, good as ever. Breaking the Law. Love Bites, love the solo in that. Then we get Some Heads Are Gonna Roll, great track. The Sentinel. Then we get Private Property off Turbo. A lot of people don't like Turbo. I do. It's a good album. Rock You All Round the World. That's one track I'm not keen on. Electric Eye, brilliant as ever. Turbo Lover, I love that track. Real Wheel Burning. Parent Guidance, I love this. So it sticks the fingers up at the people that wanted all these stickers on it. It was having a right old dig at Tipper Gore. Good job and all. Living After Midnight, You've Got Another Thing Coming. Great set. I've got the video. It's a great gig. I'll give it an RTO ranking of 9 out of 10. Okay, before we go, when Turbo 30 come out, we got a remaster of the album, and there was a live recording from the Fuel for Life tour, same time that Priest Live was done. I'm going to mention this because as much as I love Priest Live, but the live recording, there's the whole concert from Kansas, recorded in May '86, and it's got couple of extra tracks on it. It's got Locked In, which is another great track, and Desert Plains. I think it's got Victims of Changes as well. The production on this is far better than Priest Live. I think it's been put through the machine and they've really cleaned this up, and it's an absolutely fantastic. Now, if you're not a great fan of Turbo, go and buy Turbo 30 purely for the. I know there's a lot of people that are not keen on the album. Go and buy it because the live piece of it is fantastic. I thought I'd just give it a mention because it is really great. I'm not going to rank it, but I thought I'd just give you a mention that they've cleaned it up and they've remastered the original recording of it, and it is fantastic. Okay then, that's Priest Live. So if you think I should do a Priest studio album ranking, put it in the comment box below, because that's the only way we're going to get a full. It'll be a marathon Wednesday, of course, of Judas Priest. Because as I say, I like it's called I do the obscure stuff, but I do requests, and I will do any request of any band that you guys like. So if someone out there says, come on, let's see what you think of the studio albums, and we'd love to see your ranking then. Put a comment in the box below then, and it'll be done. It'll get added to the list. I think I've got enough for retro ranking. Enough for Marathon Wednesday now. I've got about 5 already lined up. But if you put this in today, I can guarantee this will be probably in a couple of weeks' time. Okay then, we've got another last show of the week to do. It's the One Hit Wonder album, but this week we're looking at a fantastic soundtrack to a movie called Still Crazy. We'll talk about the movie and who's in it and the musicians behind it, and the soundtrack is fantastic. So I'll see you for that. Take care for now.